going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and we have a new Jonathan Kuminga update. It's a new week. What else did you expect? But the people over at the Worldwide Leader, some Warriors insiders, some national NBA insiders, have a couple new updates on where this process is between the Golden State Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga and his restricted free agency. We'll get to these new reports in just a moment, but the Warriors are the only team in the NBA that has yet to make a move this offseason, and I am getting restless. If you want the Warriors to make their moves this offseason and get this roster into shape, go down below and hit that thumbs up icon like today's video. And I have a challenge for Dub Nation out there. I'm trying to break a record on this show. The most likes that we've gotten on a video in the month of August is 590. Can we get 600 likes on today's edition of Warriors Today by Chat Sports? I know you guys all want the Warriors to make their moves and get their signings out of the way, so let's beat that record on today's show. Like the video. Let's get into this report here from Anthony Slater, the #1 most tapped-in Warriors insider. If you don't know the name, and now you do. And shout out to him for getting that big job over at ESPN. He said, well, between the two sides, there's been renewed conversation between Golden State and Jonathan Kuminga. There is dialogue. But as you all know, talking doesn't necessarily equal movement. They've shared contract concepts and opinions about the whole thing between each other this last week, dating back to last weekend. Now, it is good news that at least we know the two sides are talking again. We were on a streak of about 2 to 3 to 4 weeks of the Golden State Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga and his representation not having any contact between the two sides. So at least renewed talks is good news for now, as we're a little bit over a month and a half away from the October 1st qualifying offer deadline that we know that Jonathan Kuminga is threatening to accept at this point so that he can have a no-trade clause and have full control over his future entering unrestricted free agency in the summer of 2026. We know how highly Jonathan Kuminga values himself as a player. And then we heard this quote from the San Francisco Chronicle that it had an NBA source tell them that Jonathan Kuminga thinks he is a part of an elite group of like all-star level players who have gotten max deals over the last couple of seasons. An anonymous source said he apparently thinks he's at the Cade, Cunningham, Scottie, Barnes level, where he should get that type of contract. It's really a quandary. I think it's bad for the Warriors and bad for him. And honestly, it's really a lot of it's on Jonathan Kuminga's agent for putting that type of mentality in him. Like, look, you want to be the best. You want to always think you're the best, but you got to think in the sense of reality sometimes with some of these things. Now, Slater also did mention that Kuminga wants more of a player-friendly deal, more of a signal that he's a building block, not a trade asset. The word that we keep hearing about what Jonathan Kuminga believes he is to the Golden State Warriors is a pawn, a P-A-W-N in this whole scenario, a chess piece to move to the next good option that Golden State can come across if they find a trade partner for Jonathan Kuminga in this next season. So, look, I understand from Kuminga's point of view, he wants to have some control over his future, but the play on the basketball court and the fit overall just has not warranted that. Like, he is not able to have these same types of demands as players like Cade Cunningham or Franz Wagner or Evan Mobley or all those kinds of big-time contributors, guys who are already made all-star teams in this league. And when you think about where Kuminga is mentally, as far as where he wants to play next season, like, it's not with the Golden State Warriors. So, like, it makes no sense to me that Kuminga is demanding all of these things when there's really only one team that he can end up on this upcoming season, and that's Golden State. We know, Brett Siegel's reported it, we've heard from other reports throughout this whole offseason, that Kuminga has been steadfast in his take that he does not want to be a member of the Golden State Warriors next season. He believes that it just doesn't provide him with the best opportunity to reach his full potential. And I can even agree with that. Like, you're not going to be the player that you think you're going to be next to Steph, next to Jimmy, next to Draymond. So it's been my contention the entire time. It remains my contention now. The best situation for both sides is to find a trade partner and just not be with each other anymore. This feels like a nasty divorce that has no end in sight. Be honest for me. What do you guys think? Do you want Kuminga back in Golden State? There's renewed talks right now, so that's good news. At least we're getting the offseason moving a little bit. Do you want him back in Golden State at all, though? Yes or no? You let me know what you think down in the comments section. I know one guy who does want him back. That's Joe Lacob. This report that came out, man, I was not the biggest fan when I saw this. This is legitimately insane. Another report from ESPN's Ramona Shelburne said that Joe Lacob told Jonathan Kuminga he wants him on the Warriors long term. What does that even mean? Shelburne with this, saying, and I do think the Warriors see him as somebody who's, if he wants to call it, a building block. I don't know if I would call it that, but somebody they want around for a long time. And who is they that they're talking about? Because they have 35-year-olds on their team. I know the owner, Joe Lacob has told him this. He loves Jonathan Kuminga. He is the reason that they've never included him in trades because they see the potential in him. The pronouns that she's going back and forth with there are a little bit misleading because there is one guy in this Warriors front office that we know wants Jonathan Kuminga here long term. That's Joe Lacob. Remember we heard from Monty Poole a couple of months ago about how nobody in the building believes that he is a guy that can take the mantle from Steph and be the all-star level building block that this team needs after Curry and Butler and Draymond are all gone. Nobody in the building believes that except for Joe Lacob. And remember, what we just talked about, if Jonathan Kuminga doesn't want to be here, then why is Joe Lacob just trying to play catch-up and trying to save face and trying to just avoid this whole situation like it's not there? This tweet from Nico, a good basketball fan on Twitter, just kind of summarized it perfectly from my point of view, at least. He says, Lacob is in love with Kuminga. Kuminga doesn't want to play for the Warriors. Lacob also won't offer Kuminga what he wants in a contract if he is the one that gets to decide that thing. I'm sure that would be Mike Dunleavy's forte a little bit more. But he said again, Kuminga doesn't want to play for the Warriors. I repeat, Jonathan Kuminga does not want to play for the Golden State Warriors. So why are we trying to bring him back? Why are we desperate? Why are we acting like everything rides on this guy coming back or not? It is utterly ridiculous. And it really starts at the top with Joe Lacob and his ego and the fact that he cannot accept the reality that is Jonathan Kuminga doesn't want to be a part of the organization anymore. He doesn't want to play for Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr probably doesn't want to play him. Mike Dunleavy, if you really got him down in a room and you said that there were no cameras on or anything like that, he probably would say that he does not want Jonathan Kuminga back on this roster just due to the fit and due to the mentality. This guy wants to be way more than what the Golden State Warriors are asking him to do. So now we sit here and there's still been no movement on what the two sides want. Yes, there's been renewed conversation. There's been talks resuming, but this is where it still stands at this point. The only options are as follows, and this one I'm not so sure is all that realistic. The Warriors can get their offer done, 2 years, $45 million, all guaranteed. Only year that's guaranteed is in that first year, $21.5 million, and then they have the team option for the second year. Now that would trigger a no-trade clause, which the Warriors are only going to sign if Jonathan Kuminga waives that no-trade clause. Kuminga can avoid all that hiccup if he just goes out and signs the qualifying offer, which is 1 year, $7.9 million with a no-trade clause. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Kuminga to do that. If you look at the history of players who accept the qualifying offer, the following summer, they do not get compensated where they believe that their talent level was. And that also carries a no-trade clause, so that's definitely the only chip that Kuminga has to really throw into the center of the table when you're making that argument. So it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense for him to forego all $14 million he would receive in year one when he's just going to probably be an unrestricted free agent in the second year anyway. Look, the Warriors are calling Kuminga's bluff. He's been threatening to sign this qualifying offer, and they have yet to budge. So it doesn't really look like they're going to move off of that. Yes, they could adjust their offer. Yes, they could guarantee more money in the second year of the deal, but I'm not so sure that they want to do that at this point, and I'm not so sure that they believe that Kuminga is actually going to accept the qualifying offer. They seem to be calling his bluff right now, and I think they're probably in the right to be doing so. What do you guys think, though? When does this all get resolved? A Kuminga resolution, whether or not that's the qualifying offer or he accepts the deal that the Warriors have on the table, when does it end? Does it end before or on October 1st when it's deadline time? Type B for before October 1st, type O for on October 1st. How long is this Kuminga stuff going to stretch out? The Warriors do have some other moves to make. Kuminga isn't the only player that the Warriors are bringing in this offseason. So they have some other moves on the way in the form of a couple of free agents that have been on their radar since the beginning of the offseason. We'll tell you guys that those moves could be coming very, very soon in just a moment. But first, get hooked up with this awesome, awesome deal as the Warriors City Edition long sleeves are on a massive sale right now. They're $35. They were $50. This is Nike. This is heavyweight. This is a tough T-shirt with an awesome color scheme, honestly. I love the way that the Warriors did their city jerseys this year, and it reflected in the rest of the merch. You guys can get yours today at chatsports.com/dubcity. That's chatsports.com/dubcity to get your Warriors long sleeve City Edition shirt today for a low, low price of $35. Alrighty, let's get into this. The Miami Heat have traded Haywood Highsmith and a 2032 second-round pick, 2032 second-round pick, to the Brooklyn Nets for a protected 2026 second-round pick. Tyler, why are you throwing this random graphic in on Warriors today about the trade between the Nets and the Heat? Yeah, they've had the Kuminga interest before, but not really looking like they're pursuing him at this point. Why is this news for Golden State? Why this is news is because when we look at the Kuminga landscape and how many teams could offer him an offer sheet exceeding what the Warriors have out there right now, the Brooklyn Nets were the only team that could offer Kuminga an offer sheet that exceeds what Golden State had in their arsenal, or at least what they were offering at this point. Now they bring in a player in Haywood Highsmith that costs about $9 million this season. They don't have that money anymore. So the Warriors can now make their moves they've had scheduled on this offseason without signing Jonathan Kuminga. Now, do I believe that they're going to get all these moves done before the Kuminga stuff is resolved? Not 100% sure, but as of right now, they are able to go make those deals without the threat of another team swooping in and taking Jonathan Kuminga away. Now, what are some of those moves for Golden State? We've talked about them on the show before. Al Horford, obviously, is the big name that's coming over on the $5.7 million taxpayer mid-level exception. If Kuminga does accept a qualifying offer, the Warriors would have the ability to offer Horford the $14 million non-taxpayer mid-level, so we'll see if that all gets shaken out in that way. Again, I think it's pretty unlikely that Kuminga accepts the qualifying offer. DeAnthony Melton, he's going to get the $2.3 million vet minimum, as well as Gary Payton is as well. Now, there is another name that's been floated around in Warriors circles in the free agency rumor mill and all that stuff. Seth Curry, the brother of Steph, has been floated as a target as well. If I had to guess where Golden State goes filling out their roster, I would say that they probably pick GP2 over Seth Curry just due to the familiarity and the defensive versatility that he can provide at a couple of different positions. But those moves are all able to be made now, and Golden State does not have to wait on Jonathan Kuminga's saga to get those signings in ink. So we'll see if they make any of those moves over the next couple of days or so, but the Kuminga stuff is obviously still the number one priority. And there's one man that's getting it all done. That's Mike Dunleavy. If you believe in Mike Dunleavy as the GM of this Warriors roster, go down below and show me. Like today's video if you haven't already. Smash that thumbs up icon and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That will do it for today's edition of Warriors Today by Chat Sports. Lock us in for your number one spot for the Jonathan Kuminga saga and all your Warriors news all offseason long. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go Dubs.